Welcome back to Sarah Kennedy's Roundtable. What an episode. We did get that secret traitor reveal, but was it as satisfying as we were hoping for? So the rhythms of the castle are disrupted too. And can the show maintain the tension? Because that's all anyone's been talking about. Now there's been the reveal, what happens next? This is your spoiler warning. If you've not seen episode 4 of The Traitors, what are you doing on the internet? Go to iPlayer, catch up, and then come back and see me, okay? Hang on. I can wait for you. It's fine, don't worry, hang on. If you can hear bones clinking, it's actually ice cubes in my gin and tonic. I wanted to go over 3 secrets with you. One that I think was kind of let slip a little bit. Lovely Fiona. She is the secret traitor. How delicious. But she seems a lot less lovely in this episode now we know the truth. And the biggest not a shock was Ellie telling us that Ross is her boyfriend. The worst pantomime possible on the train, one which Hugo could have bettered, I think, was when they shouted at each other, "No, you're from London too, oh my God." Come on, guys. Interestingly, and this kind of just was a little tiny reveal to camera, Maz is ex-police, and it seems like he's doing a far better job in keeping that secret than DCI Amanda. So, Fiona, go with me on this, but she's giving very sort of sinister vibes now we know. It's that little malevolent giggle that she's got. She's kind of like evil Dolly Parton, if there is such a thing. One of her best quotes, I mean, she's so quotable, she's going to be even better as a traitor. "I'm drunk on power," she says. She's super confident in her previous role, in her new role, and she's having a lovely time. But that little giggle when she mentions trust between traitors reveals that she herself is not to be trusted. The traitor dynamic has changed, and she's well aware of that. Rachel and Stephen are well aware of that as well. There's no murder overnight, so of course everybody at breakfast is talking about recruitment. Little do they know that this person has been a traitor in the game for a long time. They've kind of changed cloak colours, I suppose. Stephen also says of Fiona that she has people eating out of the palm of her hand, which is absolutely true, certainly in this episode. Now, I'm finding it kind of incredible that the secret traitor twist has run its course already, just in week 1. It just feels like that was great. It got us all talking and it got us all hooked. How can they keep that tension up now? What else will happen? Because it seems like there isn't going to be a second secret traitor recruitment. Who knows? Who knows with this game? We know they're always at least 2 or 3 steps ahead of the viewer. So their pre-mission roundtable capitalizes on everyone's anxiety from the supposed recruitment. They are mixing it up, and I find that very interesting. Just these tiny little moments will sort of change the whole mindset, the whole group dynamic, because people are easily worried. There's sort of like a cage full of hens at this point. Just a slight change will make them all nervous and put them all on edge, make their nerves jangle. Now, the biggest concern, certainly, shall I put it politely? The biggest concern on the internet this evening has been nobody noticed the large picture with bloody thumbprints on that everybody was looking at because it's the family tree. Reese was there moments before that was done. Stephen is trying quite quickly to pin it on Roxy and Maz as being the last people next to the family tree that he saw. Reese suspects Stephen, but nothing to do with the family tree. And he quotes, "I don't have enough evidence yet." Mate, you were there when they told you to get lost. Come on, think, it was only a few hours ago. Another major concern that the internet flags and nobody in the castle seemed to was that Stephen misspoke at the round table. He said about the family tree, he said last night, I mean this morning. No one notices. No one picks him up on it, and it's it's kind of baffling. I know it's easy sitting on your sofa watching the very clever edit, I know, but these are the tiny things, the tiny moments when the traitor mask slips. Poor Ross, he jumps in immediately for further self-preservation and draws heat on himself. I mean, what else was he going to do at this point? So, a traitor isn't being banished, but Ross is. Roxy gets the deciding vote between Reese and Ross and feels very guilty about it. And poor Ross must be fuming at Nettie. He pops his collar and he says he's faithful. And then I write down immediately in my little notebook, will we ever know his dark secret? Yes, immediately. Ellie tells us and confirms basically what we thought for a long time, that they are a couple. The Reddit detectives, had tracked them down as a couple already via, I think it was LinkedIn. Amazing work before they could clean their social media. And their behaviour together and on the train means that very few people watching are shocked about that. Ross being a faithful casts further doubt on Stephen and that conversation with Ben that people keep going back to, which isn't a lot of evidence, but it's something to sort of minimise the group and say, look, there were 3 or 4 people in that room, one of them must have been a traitor. So the mission is off to the forest, and there's some scary occult ritual going on with cages in a big circle. So the players who are on the murder shortlist, the very long murder shortlist, are caged, and they have to pair up with someone who is free. So it's a bit like being picked last for PE, and poor Sam doesn't get a partner, so he's basically there as a spectator. He knows that he is going to be up for murder. The other players then play for their partners' lives in a game, and I wish I knew who said this, of Death Jenga. Amazing. So they have to find and stack, I think it's ram skull or goat skull, and I apologise to my goth girlies for not knowing the difference. I must do goth better. So they have to stack 10 of these next to the cage. There are 5 possible winners, and it is a race between all of the little teams. It's £2,000 for each person released, and the people released will get a shield and will not be murdered. Reese, bless him, basically gives up. He's starting to give his skulls away. Fiona is ambling through the forest, having a lovely day. Rachel seems to be taking her time as well to release Amanda. Now, is this on purpose, or is this just because they're lazy girlies who don't really want to get involved in a mission that looks muddy and it's going to get you wet, and, you know, it looks pretty panicky. Rachel finally frees Amanda. Fiona eventually strolls back to the mission headquarters. So, the people locked in cages at the end are Stephen, Reese, Maz and Sam. Stephen, of course, is a traitor, so he'll be fine if a little bit embarrassed and a bit uncomfortable. So they now have to sit in their cages, apparently, until night falls, and they will be murdered by the traitors face to face. Apparently no dinner, but the cages look carpeted, so, you know, it's quite a cosy horror film. Rachel and Fiona, it's quite clear, are making each other very nervous now. Rachel says of Fiona that she is dangerous for my game. Now, we have to wait and see for the next episode as to who is murdered. There's a hooded axeman walking around the forest. There's red torches in the distance. It looks brilliant. It looks terrifying. As for the people who might go, I think Reese's tears, when he was second to Ross for banishment, may have saved him. Will his memory of Rachel and Stephen at the family tree come back to him, or will he forever be our forgetful witness? His demise in the cage would make Rachel and Stephen that bit safer. And I'm interested to see Jessie. I want her to stay in for a bit longer because she seems very logical and very dangerous if she can get people on her side, but because she seems so smart, her days may of course be numbered. Who knows? Here we are then, week 2. Things are hotting up, but the dynamic has changed. the Red Cloak is no more. We'll see what happens. It's all very interesting. Let me know what you think. Would you have been excited to think about who the secret traitor was for another week? Do you think that's it for twists and changes in this game? Or do you think that they are keeping us, the viewer, and the Reddit detectives on their toes? Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you want to join my roundtable again, and I'll see you then. Latest, traitors.